God.
Woo! Thank you. Woo! I love music, and it just gets me all excited. Well, this is the last Sunday of June, the last day of June. I can't even believe it. Can you? Isn't it just April? Well, let's revel in this moment, in this now moment, because we're still celebrating in the blue. We're still in imagination. Now, my talk title is Imagine. And I want you to recognize, is there anything that if it came into your life where you would claim 2019 to be the best year of your life? Is there anything you can see that you could actualize that would make life more joyful, more glorious? Well, that's the tool we use, is imagine. Now, as a good truth student, I turned to the dictionary and looked up imagine. So the Cambridge Dictionary says, 1, to form or have a mental picture or idea of something. So that's the kind of imagination of being a little kid and going, over here is my castle, and I've got the moat right here. Oh, it is so beautiful. I got the picture. You got the picture? Yes. The second one is to believe that something is probably true. That moat has alligators in it. You better beware, because if the drawbridge isn't down and you try to swim across, you might have to swim faster than you can. You know what I mean? Number 3 is to think that something exists or is true, although in fact it is not real or true. The whole castle, the moat, the alligators in the drawbridge aren't really real, are they? But we could all see them. And that's our imagination. I turned to a gifted minister and writer, wrote the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. When I lived in New York, I attended Norman Vincent Peale's church, and he doesn't know it, but he was Unity minister. I mean, he was amazing. Loved him to pieces. He says this: formulate and stamp indelibly on your mind a mental picture of yourself as succeeding. Hold this picture tenaciously. Never permit it to fade. Your mind will seek to develop the picture. Do not build up obstacles in your imagination. So, if we go back to that idea, that question, I said, what would make 2019 the best year ever for you? If you hold the image and you can begin to see what that would be, it might be a job, it might be a new house, it might be a new car, a new relationship, it might be new parents, it could be anything in your life you want more of. It might be more peace. It might be more time to do our activity, water sports. It doesn't help if we're holding that idea and that image to then gnaw at it with, but I'm not old enough, or I'm too old, or I'm not cute enough, or I'm not wise enough, or I'm not enough. You know what these not enoughs are. We all have them. We all have a list. If I were to say, right now, say out loud 10 things that you think you're not enough of, we could probably come up with them very easily because the little recordings are in our brain. If we don't allow those to influence what we're imagining, it gives our ability to have whatever we want come into fruition in our lives. And if those ideas of fear or lack or doubt do come up, all we need to do is say, this fear has no power over me. Right now, I know I'm one with God and everything is possible. That's a denial and an affirmation. So we can let go of any, and that doesn't mean that we won't have to let go of it in an hour from now, 5 minutes from now. But we can do a denial and we can release those negative thoughts that hold us back. Because the only thing that limits us is ourselves. There's no limit in God. God is eternal, unchanging, and ever-present. And is there anything God is not? No. Is there any part of us that's not one with God? No. But that doesn't mean we can't have little sniggly thoughts that gnaw at. And that's those building up obstacles to our imagination. Thank you, Norman. Now I turn to gospel because this is prevalent in the Bible. This is old wisdom. This is not new thought. We just like to talk about it. So this is from Mark 11:24, where Jesus said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe you have received it, and it will be yours." So a thought is a prayer. Every thought is a prayer. So what are you praying for? Are you praying for fear? Are you praying for lack? If we're holding an idea of our greatest success or something that would really make this a landmark year, the best year of our life, we need to believe it. Like the Cambridge Dictionary described, we need to believe it even if it's not true yet. And when we do that, we begin to breathe it. It begins to become part of our makeup and our life, and it will be ours. He also said, Mark 11:24, all things are possible for one who believes. All we need do is believe. So this turns on that activity of faith. Faith in believing in our success is using the tool of imagination to actualize what do we want. What do you want? George Bernard Shaw, a great playwright, author, said, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You will what you will imagine. And at last, you will create what you will. So herein, George has outlined the recipe for creating something new. If imagination is the beginning of creation, then let's look at the Big Bang Theory, a void of absolute potential. And then all creation happens. That happens through imagination. It happens through seeing something before it is. And then galaxies create, and rainbows are created, and pomegranates are created. And the activity from that imagination is from our desire, we turn our will to it. How much do you accomplish in your life that you don't set your will to it? Probably very little. And this is the activity where we get to put our energy, we get to put our drive, our doingness into the activity of making something happen. Because if we sit around and just wait, okay, I want a Lamborghini. That'll make this the best year of my life. Okay, give it to me. It doesn't happen that way. If that's really the idea, then what we need to do is really see it. What color is it? What's the interior like? How does it feel to sit in it and drive? And how do you look out for the police so you don't get a speeding ticket? All of that, when you see all of that and begin to believe it, then the distance between the idea of having whatever your version of the great car is just a matter of time. And then we have to put feet to it. It might be going to have to do 4 jobs to be able to pay for the lease for the Lamborghini. But if that's what I really want, it can be mine. What do you want? What would give your life exactly that next, wow, this is what I want? I turn to Unity minister Richard Lynch. He's written several very powerful books. One, Know Thyself, and this one, The Secret of Health. And he says, the mind images, the body expresses. What the mind images, the body expresses. Our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, she heard, I'm a child of God and I don't inherit illness. And she took that idea, seeing for the first time in her life that she was strong, healthy, and whole. Prior to that, she had thought she was only weak and she was going to die. Well, she took that into prayer and she held on to that idea tenaciously. She didn't waver from it. And by apologizing to her body for ever thinking it any less than the pure divinity that it is, in 2 years she completely healed from tuberculosis and lived a very long life. This is true in our wholeness. We need to see the picture of what it is we want. And imagination is the tool to see and actualize something that isn't true yet, isn't real, because we might be experiencing some pretty incredible pain, or something just might not be quite in alignment. But it is our imagination that allows us to see ourselves differently than where we are. And then to do whatever is we need do to bring about that knowing, that belief in our wholeness. I love the Harry Potter series. And the author is J.K. Rowling, and she's got a wonderful perspective here on imagination. Imagination is not only the uniquely human capacity to envision that which is not, and therefore the fount of all invention and innovation. It is arguably most transformative and revelatory capacity. It is the power that enables us to empathize with humans whose experiences we never shared. That's why we love stories so much. Because when someone tells their story, we can relate to the part that we can go, oh, I've done that. Or, oh, wow, I've never done that, but that's interesting. We can't ever put ourselves in another's shoes. But when we hear a story, we use our imagination to imagine what it's like to walk that walk, to talk that talk, to live in that experience. And as soon as we can relate to someone, we can no longer criticize or judge them for being any less than they are. Because each of us is a unique expression, being who and what we are. And more as we grow into that knowing, we drop away the shells and the assumptions and the cloaks that hide our true essence. All we want is come as you are. All we want is exactly who you are. And our imagination is our key to be able to relate with each other. And since we're all one, isn't it a good thing that we can relate to each other? All intricately connected as one, and each individual expressions of truth. It's a paradox. And I close this talk with co-founder Charles Fillmore. He wrote in his book, Prosperity, "The imagination is a wonderful creative power. It builds all things out of one substance. When you associate it with faith, you make things just as real as those that God makes. For man is a co-creator with God." This is it in a nutshell. Imagination is that creative energy. It's from that space of imagining that we can see things that don't exist yet. And everything that's created is first seen in thought, in idea, in image. And everything that's created is created from one substance, from God, from all that is. Now, if that energy created all the galaxies and the beautiful pride of Barbados that's blooming right out in front, isn't it also true that that energy is ready, willing, and able to help us create anything that we want in our lives? So right now, we take this idea of whatever it is would be a success for you in your life and drop that into our knowing, into our heart, into a place of faith. And that's a good thing to take into meditation. And we'll allow the Unity singers to open our path to meditation in song.
Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Beyond the restless thought, beyond the I mind, one life. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the intermingle with the light. Let love run throughout the nations. Let heart and mind unite. Come together as one life, one love.
Yes. Breathing in the one life, the one love. One with the presence of God, we bring to our heart our desire, our image of what would make this a great life. Allow that to be on our heart as we open ourselves to this precious moment. We relax. We set down anything that's come before this moment. We open ourselves to now. And as we take this moment now and recognize that we have something in our imagination, let's take that something into our heart with faith and in communion with the Christ consciousness within. Let's sit with that idea in the silence. I'm so grateful for this oneness with God. I'm so grateful for this energy in the room. I can't label the energy, but I can feel more joy. I can feel more success, more peace, more understanding, more wholeness. And so as we take whatever we've received in the silence, let's let a smile come to our face And in the smile, we accept that our success is already coming to us. And this is good. So as we now become more present to this moment, we let that energy of success enliven our moment. As we wiggle our fingers and our toes, we roll our shoulders and our head, and whenever we're ready, we open our eyes to this now moment, and we say our affirmation for the talk today. What I imagine, I call forth into expression, and so it is.